And that's the Indian viewpoint. Let's now try and get a viewpoint from America and from the West. We are now being joined by analyst Johan Blank. He's a former foreign policy advisor to President Joe Biden. Thanks for being with us. Just wanted to get some sort of a view from you on what the American perspective on this is. I know, for example, that the Biden administration has had very high hopes that some sort of a peace treaty would happen between Saudi Arabia and Israel, normalization. It looked as if things were moving forward, but it's now looking as if that's going to be very much in question.
Yes, thank you for having me. I think any plans for normalization between Saudi Arabia and Israel are very much off the table right now. Frankly, I think they always were a little bit unrealistic in the absence of any genuine movement on the front towards Palestinian statehood.
Okay, that's an interesting perspective you're making. So you feel some of those hopes were in any case somewhat ambitious because of the, let's face it, somewhat hardline policies that the Netanyahu government has been following, the refusal to budge on the settlements, not even acknowledging the fact that there is a problem in the Gaza Strip, that there's a Palestinian issue. But none of that being done, you think in any case, there was not going to be too much of a prospect for long-term peace, and that something was going to give at some point. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I mean, nothing justifies Hamas's horrific terrorism, and in no way are the missteps and the errors of the Netanyahu government any justification for anything Hamas has done. But it is a foreseeable result that if one doesn't address very real issues, then they will find a way of getting a resolution. And the most extreme players on both sides, Hamas and the most extreme factions within the Israeli government, really were pushing towards the same eventual outcome.
You know, when the United States is talking to Israel right now with the present situation, it's clear that the main message is just all-out support, and there's been an absolutely brutal terror attack, and you've got to do what you've got to do to defend yourself. But do you think now, and perhaps increasingly behind closed doors, there will be counseling of restraint, for example, in the Gaza Strip? The logic has to be perhaps explained to Israel that if children are being killed, if innocent civilians are dying in Gaza, it doesn't necessarily help the situation. And perhaps Israel is going to end up doing exactly what Hamas was aiming for.
I don't think it's just in the background that President Biden is advocating restraint. He said explicitly that the U.S. stands firmly with Israel and with the Israeli people, and acknowledging and even stating forthrightly that Israel has not only the right but the duty to respond forcefully and to keep its citizens safe. But in the very same address, President Biden said that Israel must respond within the rules of war.
So that's the immediate advice that will be provided. Perhaps going forward, do you think there will be other advice that the United States will be giving, talking about perhaps a long-term solution, saying that if you really do want peace, then at some point those hardline policies have to be dialed back a little bit. You can't go on following the policies that the United States and many other countries have been telling the Israel that you can't keep doing this, you can't keep those settlements there. You have to, at some point, have a long-term peace settlement with the Palestinians. At some point, that has to be done, and that's the only way there'll be long-term peace.
Well, I doubt that there is any discussion right now about a long-term resolution. I think that right now the discussion is probably about the most immediate concerns. And those concerns are, first, ending the threat from Hamas. That may include trying to end Hamas as an organization. But a lot of the discussion is going to be over how to do that within the laws of war, within international law.
All right, Johan Blank, I think that is a very level-headed assessment of the situation. Thank you for being with us. Thanks a lot.